imagination. As a radio maker, that is super inspiring. So for the past couple of years, I've been thinking about making a program that pays respect to Rangoon. In the next instalment of Soundproof, we're going to spin it for you. And I got to tell you, the pressure working on this project has been crippling. Countless sleepless nights. What I've realised is that trying to make or replicate a cult classic is crazy. Can't be done. Most of the word sequel is equal. And no matter how hard I try, whatever I make is going to be different. It's going to be something else. An homage or a response is how I'm thinking about this. And I've listened to this program so many times, trying to unbox it, unravel it, figure it out. But it's only now after working on this thing that I really understand what it is. And that's this. With the help from his colleagues, Russell Guy was a young man reflecting the world and expressing himself. And 37 years later, that's all I'm trying to do too.
That's Mike Williams, a guy trying to express himself. An unofficial president of the What's Rangoon to You is Grafton to Me Appreciation Society. You're listening to Soundproof on RN, and a big shout out to our Double J listeners hearing the simulcast tonight. And don't forget to dial back in next week for Mike Williams' homage, A Kangaroo Has 3 Ears. But for now, let's hit the road, dial tune to the 70s, and head to Rangoon.
Well, I gotta get fucking moving and get this fucking temperature down. Get some air into the motor. No, I've got to get air into the motor.
Appeared, the headlights blew and the horizon came through the windshield. I kissed Earth a kit and left the road like a jumbo jet diving into a swamp. Sometime later I regained a level of consciousness more ugly than the one I'd just left. I'd seen some strange movies on the inside of my eyelids again, and now I was wide awake. But I couldn't be sure.
You realise that Bob Menzies now knows what really happened to Harold Houghton?
There are a lot of answers to question. If travel really broadened the mind, then why send astronauts into outer space, when for half the price they could send heads of state into inner space? It just didn't make sense. Millions of years ago, when man first crawled out of the sea.
Was he wearing a bathing suit?
There are a lot of answers to question.
It was the radio.
It didn't make sense.
Blue flashes shot out of the radio as I fishtailed out of the creek, clawed through the Lantana and whipped back onto the Bruce, heading south and driving all night, Brisbane to Sydney. Travelling low and close to the sky, glancing up at palm tree silhouettes like giant swizzle sticks in a Bjelke Peterson cocktail. There are many reasons for leaving Brisbane and no time like the present, on a trip that's being driven every night from Townsville to Tumut, Gundagai to Sirius, Rangoon to Grafton, from one side of your face to the other. I folded the Shell road map into a 12-inch square, reducing the New South Wales coastline to a glance, and then lit up an Arnott's Scotch finger biscuit. I placed the shock absorbers on automatic pilot and took out my attaché case containing the night driving brain that helped me see round corners, pink dots, across oceans and down Wombat Hole.
Now you at home won't wanna be become humping race to this country. 16,000 miles you've come to hawk about a blanket drum. And when you meet upon the road, to kill the time, throw down your load. It's up the sun, you give a look, soon be time to see things.
When the night comes down around your collar and the road starts coming up through your headlights, familiar landscape suddenly isn't.
It's dream time in the land of legends. Somewhere out there, Henry Lawson's taking another swing.
Inside the car, I'm making final adjustments to the viewing screen. A Holden windshield where tonight's travel thriller is being shown at 70 miles per hour. Not so much the cars that ate Parrot.
Or the jellyfish that followed Coffs Harbour.
It was going to be a good trip. I pressed my foot against the roof and screamed. Eartha Kitt cooled off while the low spark of the high heel boys took the edge off tweed heads and the lights of Murwillumbah disappeared into the rearview mirror. I made myself comfortable and a short time later saw Halley's Comet pass 3 times to the east. Mount Warning flashed the message. Pretty soon I was in Rangoon, trying to master the art of being powerless and completely stupid. The only way to travel. Lapsing into a coma and running off the road had already proved too easy, so I placed one eye on the road, one in Rangoon, and the other on a box of Darrell Lee chocolates that I was quietly quaffing at the Rangoon Bowling Club, having just filled up with total at Brunswick Head. Sound of snorting truckies, and I was just beginning to lay back and enjoy it when I heard a noise like a scary motor in reverse and looked out to see some poor schizoid drive out of a creek and disappear backwards up the road. His laugh looked a lot like mine, but I knew it wasn't me. Nobody from Sydney could laugh that long. An all-night pit stop loomed about 50 years up the road, but there was also something on the back seat. Moving and curling, reaching out with long, dark fingers, gripping my throat, twisting my toes and pounding my ears into the dashboard.
It was the radio.
It was the radio.
The transcendental masturbation unit on my shoulders began to show more interest in a floating SO sign, so I drifted back from Rangoon in time to take milk with my coffee. Where was I? Highway 1, YE50. Still on board? Was there a bomb on board?
Was I on board?
Am I neurotic or just low on gas? I couldn't be sure. I reached for the map but never quite made it. Where was I couldn't be sure.